Well, to our first conversation now, as the central bank moves to clear backlog of matured foreign exchange forward contracts, there are some outstanding. I see a lot of volatility right now in the FX market, with speculators seeming to be loading up short again. Let's get a sense of what to expect for the manufacturing industry. Joining us for this conversation is Mr. Festus Mbisiogo, chairman of Blue Diamond Group. Join me right here in the studio. Good morning.
Thank you, Lade, for having me up on your program.
Great to have you. Great to have. Thank you for sharing
so
your morning with us.
Thank you.
And definitely good news. We see central bank, moving to clear all of those FX outstanding backlogs at this time. And definitely the manufacturing industry has been hit hard with the FX distortions at this time. Tell me, are you guys seeing any easing, at this point? And what are your expectations, going forward when it comes to FX?
Well, as of today, the news I got here, I got from one of the agencies that do supply us dollar, that the dollar is going up high.
Right.
As of last few days, around 950, 1,000, but as of today, it's about 1,160 naira. So it's still going up, so we don't know where we are now. So I don't know whether we have not seen any positive impact of the backlog that they have just cleared. So
because we know we heard that some tier 2 banks have already received, some of these funds, at this time.
We're yet to see it.
But I know the manufacturing industry, there might be some lag, getting there. But how have you guys been, navigating? Because you import most of your inputs,
exactly.
At this time. What's the...
Honestly, it's a devastating moment for manufacturers in Nigeria. A very, very devastating moment. We don't know where we are. We don't have our long-time planning any longer. We really don't know what next to do. So many of the manufacturing outfits are closing down. But I want to give you some practical example of what I'm trying to portray for the viewers to know. I want to use myself as a case study. Before, a container of resin from China, which we use to produce PVC pipe and other raw materials for building material like PVC pipe, electrical pipe, borehole pipe, and so on. We do import this raw material from China. And before, about 7 months ago, a container load is about 32 million. 32 million, including the CIF and the clearing cost. But as I speak to you now, the clearing cost, the landing cost of this container is about 52 million. 52 million, and it must have a negative impact on our economy. Even the buyers, they are finding it difficult to buy this product. That's one. There's another side of the manufacturing outfit of my company, door. Before, a truck of steel door that's about 3,000 pieces that makes up the truckload. It's about 28 million. As I speak to you now, it's 45 million. Finding it difficult for our clients to possess this very raw material, these very items that we are producing now. So it's a very, very devastating moment. And also, another place it hits the manufacturers, most of us have placed an order for expansion. Like in my factory, we have expansion plan. We have committed money for so many machineries. And these machineries, as of time we budgeted, it's about $750 per dollar. Now it's 1,160. So that's halted our plan, long-term plan. As I speak to you now, we don't know what to do. So government really need to come in to save us, we the manufacturers.
Right, and I'm sure that I believe that the government have plans, to also clear some of these outstanding backlogs as regards, the manufacturing industry. I'm sure there might be some lag. This starts, last week. We saw the Naira, appreciated based on, all of that news last week. But this week is not looking,
it's not looking at all.
For the Naira.
Yeah.
So, going forward, now, what do you think the government can do short term, to help alleviate the issues with the manufacturing industry? Because definitely we have long-term plans.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for that, but for short-term
plan
to help, support the industry.
I think that's a very good question. Let me just kind of take it further in terms of let them come in to assist us. Most of us run our machineries on diesel. We find it difficult having steady power supply in our factories. Very, very difficult. In my own factory, we do consume about 15,000 liters. 15,000 liters of diesel in a month. times is about 15 to 20 million. As of today, diesel is 1,250. Why before it's about 250, 300. So if government can come in right now to cushion these very expenses that we do incur through the alternative energy source and subsidize it, probably locate all these factories wherever they are and try to bring the prices down for us. That will help a lot. Then secondly, we also want the government to intervene inside of the tax cut. Because as I speak to you now, we are finding it difficult. So many agencies are harassing us in our company. Whether we are whether we are producing or we're not producing, they don't care to know. And we must break even for us to pay profit, to pay our workers. So paying our workers now is too difficult for us. We are passing through a lot. So for instance, help that we expect from government, while we wait for the dollar rate to come down, they should come and help us, probably on these areas I've just mentioned, tax cuts, and probably subsidize the diesel that some of these factories are using.
Now, talking about tax cuts, I did see the headline, I think last week, with the LIRS shutting down a couple of companies and hotels, for tax evasion. And, I'm wondering, did these companies really evade tax, or is it, the economic situation, making them not able to, pay their dues?
This economic situation. I want to give you an example. There is this company in Ogun State that just they established their outfit in Ogun State in 2014. They invested $300 million on diapers plant. As I speak to you, they closed down in 2018 to 2019 because of economic hardship, because of these difficulties have enumerated before. It's not only because of the tax matters or tax increase on these agencies requesting us to pay so many taxes. No, the economic, the situation is volatile or not, especially on that diesel. As I have enumerated before, if I spend about 15,000 liters of diesel in my factory, tell me how do you expect me to break even? It's too difficult. You have not even talked about the maintenance of these very generators. To maintain these generators in the morning, in fact, the overhead, what my accountants do send to me monthly, we spend almost 40 to 50 billion naira on maintenance of this generator and the fuel, because we have different generators. I have about 3 that will fuel, and each of them run simultaneously because we produce at times night and day. So it's too difficult. It's not even because of the tax cut.
Right. All right, let's look at other top countries now.
Okay.
Like take, for instance, China.
Okay.
We always talk about China in most markets.
Yeah.
Global markets. They're either the biggest consumer of this, biggest producer of that. And I know you've operated in China for donkey years at this time. Tell us about the Chinese model at this time. What can we pick from that model to start using here in Nigeria?
Well, I lived in China for close to 20 years as I picture. These guys are really doing so very well. Let me talk on their manufacturing sector. Once you indicate interest to go into production in China, the Chinese government kind of derives so much joy seeing you going into production. And me, having lived in China for 20 years now, statistics have shown almost every family has somebody that's into production in China. Almost every family. You can Google it. Almost every family. There is this conducive environment for these factories to drive in China. Conducive environment. Once you indicate interest, the authorities where you domicile will locate you. They will ensure that access road to where that factory is located, they will take care of that, ensuring there is accessibility to that very factory. One. Secondly, their interest rate is single-digit interest rate. I have shared with you guys here about a supplier from China that I needed him to supply me some product from China. Because he supplied me one or two containers in a month, he now wrote a proposal to the state government, to the authorities. They loaned him very big amount of money to fund that very product I'm importing from him at a cheaper rate, some 3%, some 4%. Why here? The current loan we collected from bank is about 21% as I speak to you now. So not only that, the Chinese government also introduced what they call tax rebates on each product we export outside China. 13%. Meaning if you export goods of $1 million, you are getting 13%. Every manufacturer struggled to export their products. Despite the profit they're making from the sales, they also expect more profit from the government. And almost every item used in China, all their machinery, equipment used in production, 70% of them, if not 80%, are from China, unlike here in this country. So these guys have created conducive environment, not talk of steady power supply. Look, without steady power supply, I've said it time without number, there is no way an economy like Nigeria will drive if there is no steady power supply. And when there is steady power supply, which I keep on hammering each time I'm on any public function, we need this steady power supply because without it, we're going nowhere. It's because of this steady power supply. In China, you can see somebody staying in his room, creating one idea or the other. Because there's availability of the conducive environment, the person will invent something and start exporting it to all over the world. So Chinese model is something, especially on that tax rebate. You can imagine 13% on each goods. In fact, whenever
and it doesn't seem like rocket science.
No,
what China.
If you are making order from China, the supplier will tell you, I want this money in dollar because of that tax rebate. If they want to ship your goods, they say, I want to include the CIF so that the tax rate will go up. So they encourage their citizens. Not only that, they do what I call routine check to know the challenges that you are having. And they also ask you to present to them the potential buyers that you have. So when you present to them, they will dissect it. And they will fund you. They will say, how many containers will these buyers buy in a year? They want that dollar. That is why these guys are becoming the highest exporter of commodities all over the world.
They're also highest importers of everything, but the economy is still quite balanced. Talk to me about, still looking at China now, talk to me about that exhibition. I know you attended that one. It's Canton Fair,
Canton Fair,
in China.
Exactly,
what did you take home from there?
Well, this Canton Fair is an exhibition that has been going on in China for a very long time. Captains of industries all over the world are always at this Canton Fair. It will happen April and October every year. These guys use that very Canton Fair to display their newest technology, to display their capacity to produce quality products. In fact, from what I gathered, about 35,000 manufacturers registered for the last Canton Fair. I came in on Sunday. And about 1,000 overseas manufacturers displayed their product there. So what I think we Nigerians can take home, it pains me a lot. There was a time I went there with some government officials. And for us to kind of go to that section of manufacturing, because each of them has a section. There's a section for heavy-duty machineries. Most of Nigerians don't like going to that section. They'll put it to you, where is the power? Where is the electricity to power all these machineries? It's a discouraging factor because of this electricity. We depend on, rather they concentrate on these finished products. Those that can produce and send to them, they don't want to go into this manufacturing. Because of what? We don't have power. So if there is any way the government can have one-point agenda, I keep on repeating, one-point agenda, for us to solve the problem.
So we should forget about 7.
No, not that they should forget about 7. No. I'm not saying they should forget about 7. See, I'm just talking as somebody who have lived in China, and these guys are doing so very well. In fact, China is so bold. Some of their billboard, you see them placed there, China filled the world. China they are so proud of themselves. They know what they're doing. If Nigeria, with the population we have in Africa, do you know this Cotonou, Ghana, and the rest of them, they can buy from Nigeria because we have the population, we have the raw materials. So there is need.
And we can make them buy.
We can make them buy in Naira, of course. So they should. I'm not saying they should forget about any other agenda they have, but focus on steady power supply. Most of us, I want to tell you, some of us that are in abroad are desirous to come back home to invest. Just like as I came back home in 2012, I brought down my capital, my money into this nation, and set up a manufacturing outfit in Imo State. And I know the employment is created. Most of us are willing, but they are not happy because of this power situation. So the take home for that fair is this: Nigeria, we have the population. Let the government give us conducive environment. Those things that China is doing, I tell you, we can do it in this country. And most of these African continent, like those that surrender us, will stop going to China and they'll buy from us here.
That would be so amazing to see at some point. Thank you so much. Well said. And we definitely hope we can get that conducive business environment
Thank
so we
you
can
so much.
produce. Thank you so much, Mr. Festus.
Thank you.
And Bisiogo, Chairman, Blue Diamond Group. It was quite instructive, all that you've said today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, Commodities Market Update is next. Do stay with us.